Everyone has a story. Stories have power. They help us understand each other.
In this episode of Family Heritage Stories, we highlight people making a difference.
Stories get passed down in different ways. Sometimes it's just because somebody wrote it down. I'm going to take you back
Every son of liberty.
about 100 years. To 1917, specifically to the spring of 1917. The world is in what's called the Great War. It was also called the War to End All Wars. It didn't quite work out that way, but the United States got involved in the spring of 1917. And there was a young man that was about 26, 27 years old. His name was Arthur Leroy Maurer. Guy from a little town called Fairview, Utah. He decided to enlist, and so he was sent to the University of Utah to do his initial training, and then he was shipped out to Omaha, Nebraska. And what is he doing there? He is being trained to be part of the balloon division. Not kidding. Okay, hot air balloon division. They had not quite got the airplanes going as part of warfare, but the dirigibles, okay, we got those. So he was out there and doing his thing. Well, he got sick. A lot of people got sick in Omaha, actually. And, the thing that's interesting is, why do we know all this stuff? Because somebody wrote it down. Somebody took the time to leave their mark. And to me, stories do have power. And one of the most powerful things is the letter that survived over 100 years from Arthur to his parents. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read that letter, kind of let you go back in time. Florence Field, October 16th, 1918. My dearest folks, received the most welcome cake and the envelopes the other day. Glad to hear from you. I'm getting well the Spanish flu now and will have almost had it for about 3 days, but was quite sick the other night. My fever went to 105 degrees. It's mighty bad news. From 10 to 30 people are dying every day in Omaha, and many are dying at the fort. 2 more men of the 46 died in the hospital night before last. Out of less than 150 men in our company, 44 are in the hospital, and 25 were quite sick in their tents. The ones who can fear this dreaded disease the most, according to the doctors, are those who are diseased and the heavy tobacco users. 2 airships came here yesterday to be used with our balloons. This company is all prepared and ready to leave. We are well, even with the replacements from the other companies to fill up. We should be leaving in the next few days, if not more than 2 weeks. I don't think the war will last much longer, according to the Omaha newspapers. Tell me if you received my suit order and my moving orders. Goodbye and God bless you. Your loving son, Arthur. I realize that letter was over 100 years old, but isn't it amazing that somebody wrote it down? Somebody left their mark by recording that, and now we have that. What's sad is the fact that that was the last letter that he sent his parents. He died 7 days later of the pneumonia. Complications from the influenza. What kind of values are you passing down to the next generation?
Welcome back to the Caring Stories. I'm so excited tonight to be joined by Ann Kimball, Executive Director of Sammy's Buddy Program. And we're going to talk all about this. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Krista.
I love this program. Can you tell us a little bit about what is Sammy's Buddy Program?
The mission of Sammy's Buddy Program is to normalize difference and build community and connection between students with and without disabilities.
So really there's a place for everybody.
Absolutely. That is the goal.
So there really is something for everybody with Sammy's Buddy Program. And you're taking this mission and you're taking it into the classroom. Help us understand the ages of people who can be involved with Sammy's Buddy Program.
Sammy's Buddy Program, we run programs kindergarten through college. So we pair kids with disabilities and their typical peers starting in those early kindergarten ages, and we are now running collegiate programs, which is phenomenal. So kids of all abilities get the opportunity to learn from one another, to interact, to have the opportunity to learn and grow together.
And this is through activities like eating lunch together, playing together. What else? Help us understand what it is they're doing.
We consult with teachers to create skills-based activities. And some of those skills are soft skills. Kids work on communication skills, but they also work on fine motor skills. But at the heart of all of it is the connection that we're trying to create between the groups of students so that kids leave these activities truly feeling like they have a new friend.
I love that. Now, I know that Sammy's Buddy Program is well established, and I also know that you're working hard to make it grow. So talk to us about where you were a few years ago compared to now and where the program is looking to grow to.
Sammy's Buddy Program began in Colorado about 10 years ago. It was started in honor of a beautiful girl named Sammy with muscular dystrophy. And Sammy's family actually grew up in Utah, and her family wanted to start it here. So 6 years ago, we started here. We were in 2 elementary schools and had about 40 students participating. As of our 6th year, this year we'll be in 27 schools, and over the 6 years, we have impacted 15,000 students.
That is a tremendous amount of growth. And I know that it's because of hard work. And what are the other factors? Why else has this grown so quickly and so robustly?
Because of the need. Kids need and want connection. Kids of all abilities. So many students today feel like they're on the margins, whether they have disabilities or not. And this program is such a beautiful way to bring them together, to help them feel seen and valued for who they are, regardless of their abilities.
It's amazing. It really is. So how can people get involved, and what are some of the different needs you have in order to keep this amazing program growing?
Thank you for asking that. We have a wait list of schools that want to get involved, and we can always use more volunteers. And you can volunteer by going to our website, sammysbuddyprogram.org. And of course, we need support. We need financial support in order to run more programs and to expand our reach.
There's so many people I know watching who would love to be involved in some way with this amazing program. So as Anne said, sammysbuddyprogram.org will line out all of the details on how you can be involved on any level as a volunteer, as a supporter, and please consider making a donation to keep this amazing program going. Anne, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, Krista. It was a pleasure.
With another episode of The Caring Stories, I'm Krista Numbers, joined by Anne Kimball from Sammy's Buddy Program.
You're watching Family Heritage Stories with me and my grandpa. We'll be right back.
Being a cowboy, I don't know anything different from when I was 3 or 4 years old. I did tough things. I thought everybody needed to do tough things, and if you didn't, I didn't have time for it. I had a very successful career at a very young age, and life was fast. I was preparing physically. I wasn't doing anything mentally on the inside. And then I got hurt. I wanted to be better as a person, and I really dug into mental health. I start my day with 20-minute workouts. I live life 8 seconds at a time. Horses are so therapeutic. They know what you're feeling. When you're nervous, they're nervous. You won't say it back, but we're pals. I take a lot of responsibility in taking care of my kids, my family, and being there for them. You're gonna have tough days. Everybody does. Find a place to stop and just breathe. Love your mind.
Welcome back to tonight's episode of Success Stories. We are joined by author Andrew Taylor. Andrew, you've written this amazing book, Launch. which I'm so excited to talk to you about. Tell me what inspired you. Tell us about your journey leading up to publishing this book.
Yeah, I was a river guide at college and loved spending time in the outdoors and loved river guiding so much that after I graduated, I moved to Costa Rica to be a river guide, and I worked for an organization called Outward Bound. And a lot of people might know that as an outdoor adventure school, or if you're not familiar with it, it was an outdoor adventure school and a leadership experience. Fell in love with the country of Costa Rica and came home and started an adventure travel business, which evolved into an adventure therapy business. So for the last 12 years, I've been working with primarily young adults struggling with depression, anxiety, ADHD, high-functioning autism, kind of a failure to launch sort of a crowd, but not always necessarily the failure to launch, sort of stigma that we have, but just young people struggling. As a part of all that journey, when I started Pure Life Adventure in Costa Rica, I wrote a curriculum for young people, which it was originally, what are all the things I wished I had known that I would like to teach someone else who's 18, 19, 20, and we've been teaching that at the program for years, and that curriculum evolved into my book launch, which is kind of self-explanatory for young people out there confused about growing up in this quickly changing, fast-changing sort of environment. This is a book meant to be a guide and a helpful aid in the journey of getting into adulthood.
So Andrew, we have all of this great experience and this roadmap that you've put into this awesome book. Talk to us a little bit more about what you're doing now, day to day, and how you're utilizing this.
Yeah, I've got a coaching and mentoring program that I started in 2020. When COVID hit, my program had to shut doors overnight for 1 year. We reopened. But during that time, who knew how long business would be closed? And my wife said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I really want to work with graduates of my program and or young people who can't afford the program in Costa Rica or don't need that big of an intervention. And so I started coaching and mentoring young men and young women, primarily college students nationwide. And we provide anywhere from 1 to 2 sessions a week for them and their families, up to 5 to 7 sessions a week if someone really needs some intensive support.
And this is the very program that I've had 3 of my own boys go through, and they absolutely loved it. And it was so great to have you telling them what to do versus me encouraging them and giving them suggestions. So, and in Utah or wherever they are, I know that you can do this all over the country, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And there's great things you can take advantage of as far as outdoors, as well as the curriculum. And it's just such a beautiful blend of all of these things that you've created, and it's so unique. You taught me the word individuate. You also taught me to embrace it. Life being messy. It's a beautiful messy. And you talk about that in your book as well. So
Yeah, I mean, growing up's messy, and being in a relationship is messy. Being in a family is messy. It's also beautiful. And I think that so many of us get caught up in just things needing to be perfect or just right. I do all the time, and life could be bumpy, but that's where the beauty comes in. And if we kind of learn how to navigate it and roll with it a little more, we can usually get a better outcome and or have a better attitude as we're going through it.
I love that. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for writing this book. It really is an awesome roadmap and great information for people of all ages and stages to help the young adults in our lives individuate and help us learn more as we go, right?
Yeah.
So where can people go to purchase a copy of your book?
It's on Amazon. Andrew Taylor Launch is where you'll find it. I've also got a personal website, andrewtaylor.bio. There's a link to the book as well on that website. I also have a podcast, The Andrew Taylor Show, Living Insights, and you'll find me on Spotify, iTunes, all the regulars.
So you are spreading these great stories and advice across all the platforms.
Trying to.
Okay, all of the information is on your screen. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Success Stories with Andrew Taylor.
My father taught me a lot about life, without ever saying a word. When I was a little girl, my friends were all just like me. His never were.
Hello, hello.
Didn't you bring them, George?
I thought you were going
No, I brought them last time. Huh?
You're all right. I forgot. All right, so we'll be with...
I used to wonder, why would a Jew, a Christian, and a Muslim ever get together?
It was him.
And then I finally got it. They had a lot more in common than donuts.
Friendship. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Hi guys, this is Doug Jessup with another success story. Today, I got a heck of a success story, and he's also an author and a doctor, Dr. Rich Greenberg. Dr. Greenberg, I know you've written a couple books, and this one I'm very interested about because it's a common question. The book is called The Emergency Room, When Does My Child Need to Go? What in the heck inspired you to write this one?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all.
Sure.
As a pediatric emergency medicine physician at Denver Children's and then at Primary Children's here in Salt Lake, I spent many hours working shifts, especially at night, and parents would come in fear because of often misconceptions. The most common reason that would bring them in is fever in the middle of the night. And after I would spend some time talking with them and evaluating their child, they would often look at me and ask, I didn't really need to come in, did I? And I would never say no. I would tell them, I respect a parent. I respect their concerns. And so whenever they're worried, I want them to come in for evaluation. But after having this happen thousands of times, I decided that I should write a book, because one didn't exist, that would empower parents with the knowledge and give them confidence to decide, when is it truly an emergency that I should rush my child into the emergency room? Or when is it something that I can just stay at home and treat at home? Or also, when is it something that's appropriate to wait till the next day to see the doctor? I hated the fact that parents had that fear and that nervousness with all these misconceptions. And so I wanted to empower parents with that knowledge to help them make the decisions and to give them some advice on how to do so.
So you mentioned fever as something that you saw a lot, and it makes me wonder if there's, one thing where it's like, okay, this happens to your kid, get your butt into the emergency room. You've seen it all. So what are some of the things that you talk about in the book?
Well, first of all, fever is the most common reason that brings parents to the ER, because of the fear and the idea that something bad is going to happen to their child because they have a fever. And that's just not true. Most parents, in fact, every parent and mother that I've ever talked to always have a specific number in mind. When the fever reaches 101, 102, 104, everyone has a different number, that child's brain is going to fry or something is going to happen. And that's a common misconception that is just not true. So there's not a specific number in mind. It's a whole panel of things that you go through. How does that child look? How are they reacting? So rather than worrying about a number, I worry and counsel parents about how does the child look and how are they acting. So in addition to fever, common things that bring kids into the ER that I write in this book are respiratory conditions such as colds, sinus infections, bronchiolitis, which most people commonly know as RSV or croup, and then also other things like abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and seizures are other common reasons that I address in the book, because those are common reasons that parents come into the ER or are concerned about their child's health.
So it's not really just one thing, it's more of a combination.
It's more of a combination of things. And having that power gives that parent that choice to decide, oh, wait a minute. And after I sometimes I'll do these lectures for church groups or other things, and after I talk, parents go, oh my goodness, I never realized that. And I'm a grandmother and I have, between children and grandchildren, many kids, and I never heard that before.
You're turning on the light bulb moment.
Trying to, at least.
So you're giving people a lot of guidance. I mean, let's get real. Everybody wants kind of a roadmap, and we're all kind of going here, there, and everywhere. Who do you think would benefit from this book, and what kind of examples do you have that can help guide somebody so that maybe they don't have so much fear in their life?
Yeah, and that's my goal, is to demystify a lot of the things that cause parental fear with regard to their children's health conditions. And so in addition to explaining when they need to go to the ER versus it being appropriate to stay at home, Each of these chapters is just 4 to 5 pages long and gives them practical tips about what they can do, how to take care of these conditions, what to watch for. And at the end of each chapter is my key point section. For those parents who are in fear mode, they can just quickly flip to that last page and read a few bullet points about what they can do and when they should be concerned. I think personally this book is great for both new parents as well as experienced parents or grandparents, and really anyone who takes care of kids, whether it be babysitters, caregivers, teachers, anyone who deals with kids and potential medical issues, because things happen all the time. Kid may have a seizure at school, and what do you do about that? Many people have told me that it makes a great baby shower gift, and so I've had many people purchase them to give to expectant mothers. As far as finding my book, you could find it on my website, ragbooks.com, or it's also on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. And I also welcome the opportunity to come and speak at either parent groups or community events or other events that you may think appropriate. And if you're interested, you can connect with me on my website, ragbooks.com.
Perfect. And for all the grandparents out there, we're in the same boat. We might have heard Dr. Spock things. Well, we got the new and improved here. So thank you so much for coming on, Dr. Greenberg.
Thank you for having me.
When you can't do it all, do what you can. Caring for others. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Hi guys, this is Doug Jessup with another episode of The Caring Stories. With me today, Kelly Jensen.
Hi, Doug. Thanks for having me.
So Kelly, you have a son by the name of Sam,
I do.
and he's in a program called Sammy's Buddy Program. Mm-hmm. Now, how does that help his school experience?
I think one of the things when you have a son or a daughter like I do and they go to school, especially big schools like the one he's at, I think it's difficult sometimes to know that they're going to find a place, that they're going to find friends, that they're going to have someone to sit with at lunch. And the thing I love about Sammy's Buddy Program is that it provides that immediately. There are kids, both typical kids and also kids in the SPED program or kids with intellectual disabilities that come together for the purpose of learning from each other. And one thing that I love, I'm grateful for all programs that Sam gets to be involved in. But the thing I like particularly about Sammy's Buddy Program is that I think it's even in their mission statement when I very first read it. It's talking about combining all types of kids to learn from each other. It's not something about pity because someone needs someone, but it's really about I have something to give and you have something to give, and we can come together and become friends. We can learn from our differences, and you have as much to offer as I do. I feel that in this program for my son. When they eat lunch together, when they throw the ball together, when they come to support each other at their events, it gives them the opportunity to find each other, which I think is difficult in this day and age, especially in a big high school.
Yeah, well, so if I were to ask Sam why this matters to him or to the rest of your family, what do you think he'd say?
I think Sam would say that it helps him know that he has a place, that he has people waiting for him at lunchtime, that he's not going to have to wander the halls or think about where he's going to eat lunch, that he's going to have a spot right next to somebody, somebody's going to be anticipating him coming, that they're going to be excited when they see him, and that they're going to want to throw the football after because they know him that well, that that's what he's going to want to do after he eats pizza.
Mm-hmm. And for him, it's probably going to be the University of Utah. Too.
Probably.
Just saying, it's going to be ring red.
Probably. He does love those players.
The lunches with Sammy's buddies give me something to look forward to. Sometimes we play games of catch, and I love it. I love that they have Sammy's buddies at the University of Utah. Those guys are awesome. They even came to our high school to support us to beat the basketball team.
So we've talked about Sam and why it's important to him. We've talked about why it's important to you, but why do you think it's important to the broader community?
That's a great question. I think back to my own high school experience, and not having these type of opportunities. And I really think I missed out. I missed out on getting to know a lot of people. I missed out on the leadership opportunities that come from getting to be in a program like this. But I think, what did I mostly miss out on? And I think that for me, I feared what I didn't know. Why do we not reach across the lines of all of these, whether it's race or religion or different types of attitudes or personalities or disabilities? Why do we not? Because we don't know them. And I think about, if a program like Sammy's Buddies could flood the communities and flood the world, and we could have an opportunity to expand instead of contract out of fear or unknowing, think of the type of world that would be.
So you kind of talked about putting yourself as your 15-year-old and 16-year-old self. What do you think your experience would have been if Sammy's program was available when you were a kid?
Well, one thing I've learned from being Sam's mom, and one of the mantras in our family, is not to pity people who don't pity themselves. And I think when I was growing up, it was more like people that are different, they need you to serve them. And one thing I love about Sammy's Buddies is that this is like, hey, you bring what you have and I'll bring what I have, and there's value in both of those things. And I think it gives these kids and our community the opportunity to reach across places that we normally would stop and find value in each other, because the world would be such a better place if we could see the value in each other, take a second look instead of a first look. I think it's one of the biggest problems in the world right now is we're just contracting instead of expanding. And Sammy's Buddies gives the opportunity, and the way that it's pitched to these kids is not come and help these kids who don't have friends. None of that. And I feel so empowered as a mom that my son will walk in and people will be like, hey, here's the kid who loves football, and here's the kid who loves pizza, and I love pizza and football. And have you heard the stats that he knows? And have you talked to him about this game that he's seen? He is seen for all that he is and nothing he isn't. And that is the power in Sammy's Buddies program that needs to breathe out into the community. It makes me so excited to hear that this program is going into elementary schools and middle schools and high schools and colleges, because what could be better than seeing each other for who we are, not who we aren't?
Well said.
Thank you.
With another episode of The Caring Stories with Kelly Jensen, I'm Doug Jessup. We'll be right back.
It's our honor to be able to help people remember where they came from.
The Fedora Foundation supports the collection, preservation, and distribution of diverse stories of traditions, values, and culture through Family Heritage Stories, on TV and online at familyheritagestories.org.
How do you want to be remembered? With another episode of Family Heritage Stories, I'm Nisha Dagari.
And I'm Doug Jessup.